Today, the Tacoma gets a bumper light. Welcome back everyone. I hope you guys are all staying healthy and safe. In today's video, we're going to continue upgrading the lighting on my 2019 TRD Off-Road Tacoma, and we're going to be installing a lower grille or bumper light, whatever they're called, and we're going to be doing a 32-inch dual row Cali raised light bar. Now this kit is complete plug and play. It comes with brackets. It does have a wiring harness. I'll show you guys how to use the harness. However, I'm going to be hooking this up to my 8 switch panel I have. Now, once I'm done with this bar, I think I'll be done with lighting for a little while on my Tacoma. Now, if you guys haven't already, I would appreciate if you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Drop me a like on this video. It doesn't cost you anything, it means a lot to me. Now, without talking too much, let's see what's in the box. And here we have the kit. It will come with your light bar, brackets, harness, and also your hardware. One thing to keep in mind is that this kit comes with also this hardware kit. This will be included with the light bar itself. We're not going to be using this. That's extra parts. We're essentially only going to be using this hardware kit here and these 2 large brackets. Now, like I said, installation should take about an hour. Let's get on with it. The first thing we're gonna have to do is pull this grill off. In order to do that, we need to remove these 2 10mm bolts and also pull out these 2 clips right here. Also, I do have a TSS sensor on my Tacoma, so we'll need to make sure we unplug that and disconnect it from the grill, so as we're pulling this off, we don't rip the sensor harness off. So let's do that real quick. So first up, we'll pull these 10mm off. Next up, we'll just do these clips on both sides, pop them off, and they just come off, so do that on both sides. And as I mentioned, I've got a TSS sensor, so we're just gonna disconnect this from the grill here and push it down. And then we can just unplug it. There we go. All right, now that I've got everything disconnected, we're just gonna pull up on these brackets and pull the grill out. And there we have it. We're just gonna put this to the side for now. Alrighty, now that we have the grill off, next up we need to remove these 2 little wind diffusers. We're not going to be reinstalling these, as we're going to be installing the Cali raised brackets into these little provisions where these guys are attached. So once we remove these, we can put these away. Alrighty, in order to pull these guys out, all we have to do is pull this clip out right here. Use our flathead screwdriver, pop this guy out. It's gonna go away like that one. Now this is just being held on by clips, so we're just gonna pull the clips out up here and just kind of shimmy it out of the way. And then once we have this guy out, repeat the same process on the other side. Alrighty, so the next step that we need to do is make room for us to be able to actually slide the light bar in this way. In order to do that, we need to take this little heat exchanger and just move it out of the way temporarily. I believe this is a transmission cooler. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments below. Essentially, to move this, all we have to do is loose this 12mm bolt and this guy right here on the brackets. We're just gonna remove those, move this heat exchanger. Once we have the light bar in, we'll put these bolts back in. So let's do that real quick. All right, next up, we're just gonna take this guy right here and just move him out of the way a little bit. Okay, now we should have enough room to slide the light bar in back here. One thing to keep in mind when you're sliding the light bar in, make sure that your little connector here, the cable, is pointed towards the driver's side. So that way we'll be able to wire it up nice and cleanly. Essentially, we're gonna slide this guy in. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna slide it in underneath there, and we're just gonna rest it on this little crash bar for the time being. So just go in here. And now that we have that little cooler out of the way, we can easily slide this in. Okay, perfect. We're just gonna leave that here for now. Next up, let's get the brackets mounted up, and then we'll hook the light up to the brackets, we'll run the wiring, and we'll be all done. Next up, what we need to do is remove the 14mm nuts off of the inner bolts on the crash beam. This is essentially where the Cali race bracket will attach to here and here. So let's take this off real quick. Now that we have that nut out, we're going to install the bracket onto the truck. Essentially the way it goes is you're gonna have this longer piece right here. This goes onto the bolt for the crash beam. And then this piece right here is gonna attach right here using the nut and bolt that was provided. So let's slide this guy in. Okay. Now we're gonna throw this nut back on. We're just gonna finger tighten this. As you guys can see, these holes here are slotted, so we'll be able to actually adjust the height of the light bar. For me, I'm just gonna go all the way down to start with, and then we'll just go from there. So first up, we'll go with the 14mm nut. And then up top for here, we'll use the provided hardware. We'll use the 12mm nut. Again, we're just gonna do everything finger tight for now. And then I'm just gonna tighten this down lightly. Just enough so we still have room to adjust this. Perfect, now that we have the brackets in place, we're gonna reinstall these 12mm bolts that we removed. Alrighty, next up what we're going to do is we're going to attach the light bar to the brackets. All we're going to do is take the provided hardware, drive it through the bracket into the light bar. I'm just going to finger tighten these down for now on both sides. Next up, what I'll do is I'll start tightening down the brackets, and then we'll start adjusting the light bar. Essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to move it all the way forward and all the way down on the brackets to start off with, and we'll see what that looks like, and then we'll go from there. So next shot, what I'll do is I'll just go through, tighten everything down, and then after that we'll go through and work on the wiring. And there we have it. I've got the light bar installed into the truck. Now what I've done is I actually put the light bar all the way to the lowest setting on the brackets and moved it all the way forward. It looks pretty straight for me. I'll throw some footage on the screen right now so you guys can see kind of what it looks like. Now next up, we're gonna move on to the wiring. As I mentioned earlier, we're going to be hooking the light bar up to the 8-switch panel, which we installed a few weeks ago. However, I do want to show you guys the wiring harness that came with the kit itself. So the kit from Cavalry comes with a little, switch, pretty basic, and pretty much all you have to do with this is plug and play, plug it into the light bar, and then hook up your positive power cable to the battery, and then just your ground anywhere on the chassis or the battery. Just to show you guys how easy it is. We'll do it real quick here. We'll lightly touch this onto the battery to show you guys. Okay, where's the switch at? There we go. And there we have it. It works. And essentially all you would do with this is, turn this guy off. All you would do here is disconnect this guy here, run this through the firewall, hook it up, and you're all good to go. And we'll stop the install at this point. Next up, we'll take the truck out and get some shots of it. So let's get into that footage now. And there we have it for the install. One thing I do want to mention, it took me about an hour and a half to do the install on this light bar. Everything went smoothly until I had to actually drive the little bolts into the light bar through the brackets. I've got big hands, there's not a lot of room there, so make sure you give yourself a lot of time when you're doing that and just be patient. Another thing to mention, that this light bar, it is the combo light bar, so it has the spot beam along with the flood beam, I believe. Now overall, I'm pretty stoked on the light bar. It works really well. The light output on it is actually pretty amazing, very surprising. So I'll pull up some shots of the light bar right now of just driving at night. And then here is a shot with all the lights off and just the light bar on. As you guys can see, I mean, this thing produces quite a bit of light. And then here it is with the headlights on and the fog lights on. Now, with all that being said, for the price, very happy with the purchase. And I think for anyone that's looking to get some more light output on their Tacoma or even like 4Runner. They have a kit on the 4Runners as well. I mean, this is a great buy. With that being said, if you guys enjoy this video, I would appreciate if you drop me a like below, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already, and until next time, I hope you guys have a great day. See ya.